Trump has declared Antifa I'm going to read this bar for bar because it's very important. A sick, dangerous, radical left disaster, a major terrorist organization. I will be strongly recommended for those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. Thank you for your attention to this matter. All right, so this is very important, extremely important, because what, and I gotta find the right words here. What is Antifa? Do you know what it is? Antifa is short for anti-fascist. It's not a single organization. It's like a loose movement made up of people and groups who oppose fascism, far-right extremism, white supremacy, and authoritarianism. I think it started, like 1930s. 1930s, started like 1930s. It's like an anti-Nazi resistance group. I believe that's where it started. So, I'm really confused here. Right here, I'm a little bit baffled because it's not a group. I, I, I don't. Maybe I'm dumb. I might be stupid. I might be, and it's okay. I like to learn. I might not know things. But from what I understood is that Antifa is merely a mindset more than it is a actual group. It's a decentralized set of tactics. That's what it is. It's like somehow it's this boogie mind of the far right imagination. It's like a formal organization. Is he weaponizing semantics? Is that what's going on here? This is so devoid of a logical or legal coherence. I think this is like purely a political act. I'm not even sure. It doesn't address any real world threat at all. I think it's just making a spectral foe that can be aimed at any dissent or any progress or any protest or any challenge to the established order. Because like, how do you fight a ghost? You can't. You can't fight a ghost. But you can use the fear of that ghost to justify anything. You rally your base around a shared phantom. You can pass draconian laws and empower security states, all to combat a noun that has been forcibly incorrectly verbed into existence as a unified entity. That's what's happening here. Antifa, right? Okay, let's get this right here. It is short for anti-fascist. It is by its very nature and historical precedent an oppositional stance, a reaction. It's not an institution. It has no member roles, no headquarters, no leaders that you can call to a summit, no manifestos beyond a foundational. That's it. And one you would think to broadly agree principle that fascism is bad and should be actively opposed. That's basically what Antifa is. That's it. It's not. It's not a group. It's like Codename Kids Next Door a little bit, but they're like Codename Kids Next Door is in their imagination. It's like it's. Oh my God. Anti-fascism is American. It's fundamentally American. It was a literal rallying cry that sent millions of young Americans to die on foreign beaches to defeat the most explicit fascist regime in history. But now in a studying, I can only describe it as an Orwellian twist, the act of opposing fascism has been deemed by the state as itself a terrorist activity. I think we're creating like a dizzying circular logic where the label of fascist is dismissed as hysterical name calling, while the label of anti-fascist is treated with the grave seriousness of a CIA threat assessment. This is kind of scary. And I understand with the height of the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk that people are, using the term randomly to call anybody they disagree with a fascist in that capacity. And I grasp that. That is sucky. That is garbage. I do agree with that. But I don't think this is about public safety. I think this is about pure narrative control. And I'd like to point this out. A lot of people have asked me, why are there so many conservatives? Why are there so many young men that are conservatives? It's because conservatives have authenticity. When Donald Trump said, I'm going to get rid of the immigrants, he meant that. It wasn't like, oh, I may get rid of the immigrants. No, he genuinely meant I'm gonna use the worst tactics to get rid of them. And there's a joy to that authenticity, because if you think immigrants are responsible for all the issues and you get rid of them, then people are happy they're grabbing people off the streets. That's what happens. That's reality. What's going on? Okay, but hear me out here. By officially designating this amorphous concept as a terrorist group, the administration, and specifically Donald Trump, performs a rhetorical sleight of hand that does two things with one gesture. Let me tell you the two things it does. It elevates every window smashed at a protest, every street ball with right-wing agitators, to the level of a coordinated international terror campaign, thereby justifying an extreme and militarized response. And it simultaneously tars every single person who shows up to the protests to police brutality, income inequality, and any form of systematic injustice with the same broad brush, creating a guilt by association atmosphere where any dissent can be preemptively framed as terrorism adjacent. It's chilling free speech and assembly under the implied threat of being tracked, monitored, and persecuted, not for a specific crime, but for holding a philosophy they find inconvenient. Antifa is like a genuine, it's just anti-fascist. I don't get it. The legal and practical ramifications are a nightmare of contradictions and overreach that should terrify anyone. I mean anyone, whether you're conservative, liberal, who believes in a justice system. How do you indict an idea? How do you charge someone with the crime of being anti-fascist? The only way to operationalize such a designation is to engage with the most blatant kind of profiling. To look at someone's black clothing, their tattoos, their social media criticizing the government, and treat that aesthetic and those opinions as evidence of membership in a non-existent organization, effectively criminalizing a political viewpoint. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. I know what you're going to say in the comments, especially if you're conservative. You criticize conservatives. Wrong again. I criticize extremists. I love conservatives. They're great. They're great. Cool people. I'm not going to lie to you. Cool people. Extremists are who I have an issue with. Extremists on the left, right? I'm cool with anybody, realistically, as long as you're, normal as a human being, as long as you're blatantly normal. This is the exact kind of thought policing that actual terrorist states engage in. Did you know that? This is a grotesque violation of the very principles this country purports to uphold. It feels strange because it is strange. It feels like watching reality itself just go backwards. Like seeing a word lose its meaning right in front of your eyes. Terrorists, the word itself, once meant something specific and horrifying. Like genuinely. Individuals or groups who use premeditated, politically motivated violence against non-combatants to instill fear and achieve a political end. I think that's the definition, right? That's terrorist, right? Somebody correct me. I'm going off of my memory here. I don't have a script or nothing. I'm just spitballing here. To apply that term to a loose-knit collection of activists, anarchists, and concerned citizens who, however messily or disagreeably, they confront far-right groups that often openly preach violence and ethnic cleansing. Like, there's groups that actively do that. You are draining the word of all of its meaning. It's turning into a cheap, all-purpose slur to be thrown to anyone on the left of the political spectrum. Like, it's making it harder to identify and combat actual, genuine terrorist threats that do have hierarchies, funding systems, and stated goals of mass casualty attacks. Like, that's a terrorist group. Like, him doing this is the ultimate extension of the politics of bad faith. It is. Where the goal is no longer to win an argument on the merits, but to redefine the very vocabulary of the argument to make dissent impossible. If anti-fascist can be synonymous with terrorist, then the language itself becomes a trap. To even defend the concept is to risk being labeled a sympathizer, to say, I am against fascism. That is such an uncontroversial statement. It's like saying, I am against cancer. Suddenly that became a suspicious act. Fascism, cancer. They're bad, right? They're both bad. How is that a potential marker of extremism? This is going to create a suffocating silence where people will self-censor, not because they're afraid of being wrong, but because they're afraid of the words they will be called for being right. Like, I don't. Does anybody read history? Does anybody actually look at the history books? Did anybody get more than a 70% in social studies? Like, genuinely, I'm confused because I'm baffled right now. The first move of any authoritarian playbook is to demonize the opposition, to strip them of their humanity and their legitimacy by labeling them enemies of the state. You will call them subversives, traitors, terrorists, especially the word traitor. That's been used so often. This is how you lay the groundwork for more extreme actions. Once a segment of the population is successfully dehumanized in the public consciousness, it becomes easier to justify sweeping surveillance, mass censorship, preemptive detention, violent suppression of their activities. Think about the censorship for a second. That's going to be crazy. Because, after all, you know what we said, right? We don't negotiate with terrorists. We eradicate them. This designation isn't a conclusion based on evidence. It's a premise designed to justify a future crackdown. Furthermore, this move brilliantly and cynically serves to create a false moral equivalence that absolves the actual documented violence of a lot of like far-right organizations or people that align with far-right ideologies. And I mean like super far-right. I'm talking about like the Triple K Society and like genuine like neo-Nazis, like people like that. I like I want to point this out. The FBI has consistently stated that white supremacists and far-right militias pose the most persistent and lethal domestic terror threat. That is a fact. They have genuinely stated that. The administration is focusing its energy on a phantom leftist army. This creates a perpetual gridlock where both sides are deemed equally bad. A violence on many sides rhetoric that allows the actual organized, ideologically driven violence of the right to be overlooked and excused because the attention is perpetually diverted to the reactive, disorganized property damage and scuffles of the left. And you can see this because nobody's talking about Colorado. The school shooting that happened in Colorado, nobody's talking about it at all. Nobody's even doing anything with Trey Reed. It was deemed as no foul play, and I'm going to wait more on that because I don't know. I have no clue. And then there was another, the Naval Academy. There was that thing at the Naval Academy. I don't even know information about that because that's been swept under the rug so bad. It has been deeply swept under the rug so bad. It has. Oh my God, the tragedy, right? The worst part is that this gambit works precisely. It works because it feels intuitive to a public conditioned by decades of action movies and simplistic narratives. We are trained to understand conflict as between two organized teams, right? That's how we've always done it. This is the G.I. Joes. This is Team Cobra. This is Captain Planet. This is Captain Pollution. This is always one or the other. Team good, team evil. Each with a logo and a secret base, a messy, chaotic, and leaderless reality of decentralized political action is cognitively frustrating. Like, this is stupid. It's easier for people to accept the fiction of Antifa as a unified terrorist group because it fits the familiar story structure. That's what it does. Even if the story is a lie, the administration is simply feeding that craving for a simple story rather than with a clear villain. No one's gonna win this war of definitions. Who is Antifa? Who are you? I'm so sorry. Are you against anti-fascism? Is that what I'm learning? All right, so this is what's gonna happen here. I mark my words about this. The right, the far right, like the far reaching right, they're gonna gain a short-term political weapon. but they will further erode the shared sense of reality necessary for a democracy to function. The left is going to find itself increasingly cornered and criminalized for its core beliefs, which is anti-fascist. And the public loses the ability to discern between a broken window and a car bomb. Like, there's two different things. Between a protest and an insurrection. Between a philosophy and a conspiracy. We are left navigating a world where words no longer mean anything. Words are supposed to be tools for describing reality. Now they're being used against it. And when that happens, everyone is lost in the same semantic wasteland, pointing fingers at phantoms where the real problems continue to fester. I gotta ask this question, and look at me when I say this. Are you for fascism? Am I stupid? I feel dumb. Are you for? Do you like do you like fascism? Is that what you like? I feel stupid. I feel really stupid because I feel like I'm missing something. Am I missing something? He really said this, didn't he? He really said this, right? He said this. It's not like a joke. It's not like a bit. I'm sorry. Nope, he really said this. Yeah, he really said it's like on his. He said this. It's not a bit. It's not a joke. It's not It's not a joke. It's not a joke. I would like to state something. The average person is kind of stupid, right? Like, we know this. The average person is kind of dumb. Like, the regular Joe Schmo doesn't really look into this stuff. They just hear Antifa and think, that sounds dangerous. Anti-fascist. Antifa. Anti-fascist. No fascism. I can't even. I don't even got words right now. I ain't got words. I'm your Nick and night, be my Laurel. Happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. I love the ride.